What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. We have an extra special show for you today. We're going to be revealing an elite method for athlete recovery. It's a very, very exclusive system to performance physios, and we are going to dive deep. And we're going to also introduce one of our newest team members. Morning, everybody. I am absolutely pumped for today's show. I don't use that term very often because it's just got to be reserved for the extra special times. Today is the day. Today is the day. We've been talking this up for a couple of weeks, and we've got an extra special guest on the show today, and we're going to introduce him in a second. He's the newest member of the elite team here at Unity Gym. But before I do, I'd like to welcome Phil White, our resident physiotherapist. And we also have the sexiest man in the room behind the camera, Richard Lellies. He is the voice of God again for us today. But most importantly, and very excitingly, across the table from me, taking the front runner seat off and the crown from Rad, is Nalesh, who is a performance physio for the GWS Giants and now co-founder of ADPT Physio. Welcome, Nalesh.
Thanks, guys. A long-awaited debut, but finally on, so thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Mate,
very
stoked.
exciting. Very
Yeah,
exciting.
I mean, it's a bit of a different week this week. Usually we have our Physio Monday show, but we thought, bring out the big guns on Wednesday and do something a bit different, a bit exciting.
And we're gonna be doing this for 2 weeks in a row, and it's a big day. It's a big day because at Unity Gym we're going through a little bit of a transformation here. We've been in talks with these guys for quite some time, and you guys all know Phil. He's been here for a while. He's part of the furniture, but we really wanted to take the physiotherapy and clinic component of the gym a lot further, and we knew we could do a lot more with it. So I've been looking to try and partner with the best in the business, and I believe we have now successfully done that. We've locked them in, and it's official because there's branding going up on the walls. There's a lot happening here. We got sign people coming up today, and these guys are creating a system and a structure to performance physiotherapy like none other. And it's the best thing about it is that it's not just available here to locals in North Sydney. It's going to be online as well. And the concept, and I'll give these guys the 3-minute elevator pitch opportunity in just a sec. But from what I gather, this is something that you guys need to pay attention to. I've been looking for a physiotherapy or clinic that treats me like the performance person that I want to be. Someone who is not just happy with being able to take a flight of stairs, sit up and down out of a chair. And I've had many injuries, many operations, and I've always been really frustrated with how you're treated coming out of that as a general pops when I'm someone who trains every single day and I take performance very seriously. So let's hear it. Who's going to do it? Who's going to do the 3-minute pitch?
I'll start off with just, this came from a background of playing elite sports for 11 years, like played ultimate frisbee at 5 world championships, but was constantly injured. And I just had this real sense that whenever I went to go see a healthcare practitioner, that then I'd just be treated like I needed to achieve like the bare minimum of surviving rather than getting back to really performing at an elite level. And then when I started working at the Giants as a massage therapist, which is where I met Nalesh, you see the level of physio, interaction they get there, and that, that push towards performance. It's not like they're just, told to rest and do a few, little activation exercises. What they're doing is working on fitness, working on strength, and getting back to being as strong and fit as possible so that they're ready to perform. So that's where I really wanted to go with physio, because I thought there was a big sort of lacking of that in not only the local area but then also online. So when Nalesh and I connected and had this sort of shared vision about what we could really do, it all got very excited when he agreed to come on board. So yeah,
Exactly right, Phil. That's exactly the gap, and we've obviously both found in the industry, it's physio people think it's on the plinth, but we want to bring that performance side and bring it here to Unity and bring it to our listeners there. We're going to revolutionise physio from just not being on the bed to rehab and proven systems. That's what we've done, just not with people but with elite athletes. So exciting times, mate. So we'll put this in play.
Yeah, and it's something that I noticed when Phil was here, and there's the broader gym space. People that go to the gym, there's this notion that they're just there to lose a bit of weight and do this and do that. And yes, there is a lot of that. But there is this whole community of people who take their performance in the gym and maybe even their weekend sport and their hobbies and their passions very, very seriously. And we spoke about this yesterday. There are those people that are in their own little pursuit of mastery. And I just think that the physio industry as a whole often forgets that. It's not just about keeping these people humming. It's about revving them up.
I think it comes from a larger place of privatised healthcare, and it's not only just with physios. It's with my background in massage. It's with chiros, osteo. Like, the business model really is about how many times you can get someone coming back. And unfortunately, people have kind of gone for the really simple way of getting people to come back, which is make things a bit mysterious, but confusing, and that you're the only one who can make them feel better. And so that's really tended towards doing things to people and not giving them the power in how to get better themselves. So that's where, I think there's been a big reliance on manual therapy. I've kind of had this rant many times, and not enough of that really valuable time spent teaching people how to program, how to do their exercise technique correctly, how to really take control of their own health. And so, I think that this, the way that we're trying to build up this business with having this little clinical space humming along, bringing on other people to kind of spend time in the, seeing people one-on-one, but while we then focus on building larger systems of educational content and programming and, things like this to really give to make this go global and help people all around the world. It's a really exciting opportunity for us to just, take a slightly different business model, which has just, I think, a much higher value of care. So
no, I completely agree with you and Yanni and Phil. Obviously, for me, it was the big turning point when, obviously you guys approached me, but sitting back and thinking about it, it's funny. Everyone goes, I want to go to a sports physio, I want to go to the guy at this sports club. Why can't we have that in a suburb? Why can't we have that in a clinic?
Perfect.
Why can't we have that online? Why do you have to go to the Swans or New York Giants or so forth? So hopefully that's the gap we are filling that gap right now.
We are. And today today we got a very, very cool show for you, because we're going to reveal one of the, I hate to use the word secrets, but to me it was a secret because I didn't know it. But we're going to abolish that term today because we're sharing it. But it is an exclusive system that Nalesh has brought here and he's sharing with us about recovery, because this is something that everybody can benefit from, and it's quite a simple, and I think another buzzword I'm going to use, revolutionary system that shouldn't be reserved just for athletes, because it makes a lot of sense. So let's just why don't you frame the concept of the 100-point system for recovery, and then dive in and share it.
Yeah, so obviously we know, people want to train and get PBs and new goals, and that's where they think they get the gains from. But the gains or results and PBs and wins and getting ready for the next training block actually starts when you get off the track or walk out of the gym. I think that's why, or that's how we've developed a system, where multiple sporting clubs around the world are using different modalities to get different type of adaptions. So massage, you sleep, it's all got a different focus. So we've put together this system where it gives you, or gives the athletes, gives our listeners the license to choose what they want to do, to actually quantify or objectify what they're doing in terms of, okay, I am actually doing my recovery. So
and the thing I like about it most is it makes it tangible, simple and tangible, and that's really important for people, because they need to be able to see it.
It's where I think one of the real problems with physio comes from, and where people go see physio and they're like, oh yeah, I got these exercises, kind of forgot to do it, a bit boring. It's really hard to get people to engage in physio and exercise, and so that's why what we're really trying to do is, if you injure your ankle, you're getting an upper body program. You're gonna if you injure your shoulder, you might get a running program as well, to keep people really excited about training. But not only as Nalesh said, it's where you really get a lot of your where you get a lot of your gains is through recovery. And so by trying to make recovery a bit more exciting, a bit more, gamify recovery a bit by just ticking off points, like human psychology, we're just,
100%.
drawn to it.
I think we complicate it. It should be simple, and it should be easy to do, and it should give us the ability to do more and do life. Hopefully this system here does that, and I think it does that because it's been successful for 10 years of my exposure there. So
absolutely. And the one, so I just want to quickly hit the rewind button and just really drill a point down before we go forward, because this talk is going to be exceptionally useful, and it's something that we're going to be certainly making available to clients and patients of Nalesh and Phil in the future. And we really want you guys to listen carefully here, but also for all the tribe who are listening in on the UMS Movement Mastermind and anywhere else where we're making this available. Big shout out to you guys too. But I want to just rewind and push that point across what Nalesh just said. You know, most people think that the gains come in the gym, and most people think that the gains come when you're on the field. They don't. They come when you're recovering after that stimulus. So
I really should remember the actual study that it's burnt in my brain from my sports science degree, where they had basically amateur runners, elite runners, and professional runners, and it looked at the time and the intensity of which these runners competed and trained, and basically the elite and the professionals did the same amount of time training. And I think that would be pretty similar for a lot of you people who are watching, who, you know, spend hours and hours a day training. That's, you know, what elite athletes do. But the difference is that, you know, after you finish training, you have to go look after your family, you have to go to work, you know, have to wake up early to fit your training in. The gym's pumping here at 5:30 a.m. so people can get to work afterwards. So they, you know, have to sometimes compromise sleep. So the difference between those elite athletes and the professional athletes is the recovery. And you look at the peak performance that the professionals can hit, it all comes because they just get those extra gains. They can come back fresher and push harder in each session, and therefore you're going to get progress. So don't discount recovery. It is so key to your success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hear these stories of, you know, Olympic swimmers at the pool at 4 a.m. and things like that, and then you think that they're doing that and then living a standard life, but most of the time they'll swim and then they'll get their enough 6-hour recovery in so they can swim again later, you know, but they sleep during that, you know. So it's like, this is so important. It's so important, and that's why I love the system that the boys are going to present now, because it really creates this tangible, really nice, simplistic quantifiable goal that helps programize and systemize recovery. So let's hear it. 100-point system. How does it work?
All right. So obviously, first of all, we don't want to make this a homework, so that's why it's a license for you to choose the right choices with the options we'll give you. So we'll use Yanni as an example. He's gone for a nice 10k run, limping the whole time with his knee.
Don't know if
he's rolled 10k. He's rolled in. He's rolled into the gym. He's done a gym session. Okay, and then he's walked out. That's when recovery starts. And the things I'm going to highlight are the simple things. So Yanni gets a protein shake and gets rice and chicken into his meal. That's 30 points there. He's already 30% way to a 100-point system. He, on the way home, gets home, kids start watching Wiggles. He jumps on the foam roller, does a 10-minute mobility session. That's another 20 points there. So he's at 50 points already. And then, you know what? It's like, I'll have a glass of wine. Unfortunately, he loses 20 points there. So as you can see, it's a point system. So you get points by doing the pros. You lose points by doing little naughty stuff, but again, you can make that up. So next morning, Yanni gets up and he's close to the beach. He goes to the pool. Obviously, he doesn't have an ice bath, so he goes to the pool or the ocean, which is available. That's 30 points there. He also had an 8-hour sleep, which gives him 50 points. So if you add those up, he's hit over 100 points, and he's done what everyday people can do. And
so is the 100 points a target, a 24-hour target, or is it a 7-day target?
You'd want to do a 24-hour target just because the point system is such a heavily weighted. So example, if you have a good meal, you hit your 30 points there. You have 8-hour plus sleep, you hit 50 points there. Obviously, the reason why there's a variation here, you know, if you can wear skins to bed, you get your points. You know, you do mobility, you get a massage, and then comes in, actually I was up working all night and I only got 5 hours sleep. You know, and I think it opens up another avenue of conversation. It's not just about muscle recovery, repair, replenish, but it's also about general well-being, mindset, and headspace as well. That's the big dial-in as well with this. That's where the elite athletes get it right. They do the little things with the nutrition stuff that's available to everyone else, but they actually, you know, take the 10 minutes in the morning to meditate or get the sleep in, get the sleep routine in.
So can you name me the primary things that you look for in an athlete that's a positive, and then we'll go through the primary things that are going to detract from the points. So you've listed sleep, You've listed like you're getting your protein in, so optimizing dietary protein, muscle protein synthesis for recovery. What else?
I think so you've ticked the big 2 rocks already. So, and wearing skins, coming in early and doing a foam roll session, or even jumping on the bed with a therapist and getting some massage. All that obviously promotes positive reinforcement of recovery.
Yep.
So they're the big things I look for. As a therapist, we look for mobility, stretching, getting in the water. For me, massage doesn't come straight away on the top of the food chain. I think you need to fix yourself before you ask to get fixed.
Yep.
Love that.
I love that.
You know, so,
I love that. I knew Phil was going to love that.
So obviously, with any athlete, it's about active therapy. What have you done for yourself, you know?
Yep.
And they come in, man, I've got skins on, I've done my foam rolling, I've done this.
And to make this really easy for you guys, like we will come up with a document that you can have a look at. 100%. And I think the way that it will make it really useful, it's like, is it 24 hours? What if I miss it by an hour? Like if you can just, it's a number that you can write down on your calendar, and you can quite easily graph this in a little Excel spreadsheet. We might even be able to set up a little interactive graph. I don't know. We'll look into it. But it's
Google
just
Doc.
It's a way of like looking back over, and I've talked about this a lot on the podcast before about how important it is to be trying to track what training you're doing, how much you're lifting, because that larger sort of load management piece, which I've talked about a lot, which is basically how much training you're doing, how intense is it, and then how much time do you have off. Like adding in this little recovery metric is just going to be so powerful to look back and be like, okay, when I was feeling my best, when I was performing my best, what was I doing at the time? I got this injury, what was I doing at the time? And this will start to give you some really good visual objective data that can help paint the picture.
I think and I'm disclaimer here, tribe, for anyone who's watching from the UMS or listening on the podcast, who's not, even people who are clients or patients of Phil and Nalesh. This is the first time I'm really going through this system with them, and I am dead set falling in love with it already. It's as you said at the start, it quantifies recovery and it puts it front of mind. And I think this is an area of the average person's coaching, and I say average, I use that word very delicately. I'm not suggesting that you're an average person, but you're not getting the treatment and support that an elite level athlete gets. You're doing it alone most of the time. You might be buddying up with some mates to go to the gym, but in the general scheme of things, you're doing it alone. People like Dave Clark, who's commented here, that's a very clever idea, making a point system for your lifestyle. Dave's a martial artist, and these guys, they might go and train with other people, but in the broader picture, they're having to figure this stuff out on their own. They don't have the continual interactions with a performance physiotherapist like yourself, people like me in the gym, and so they need emphasis on the most important parts, and that is I've been banging this drum for years: recovery, but people just don't get it, and then they wonder why they break down over time or don't recover from their issues.
And I totally get it, because it's so hard to be like, I did a bit of this today, but I think without being able to and that can often feel like, I did one of these things, but I haven't done a plunge pool hot cold thing, so it's really hard to be like, have I really succeeded in my recovery, or am I scraping by? And I think having this way of quantifying it is just so powerful.
I think whichever object we put it on it, it makes everyone accountable, because there's a document, there's a system, there's something to relate to. But I think we're going back a little bit here. I think, speaking to different clients and different athletes, they love a fad. Cryo and so forth, all great, but they're not realistic, because you got to go pay $49 to do a 2-hour thing. Yeah. And then you do it for 4 weeks, it's great. And then it's like, I can't afford this anymore. Then your recovery just dies out. Yeah. All the things we've all mentioned here collectively are simple things that don't cost you, except food.
Yeah, they're little lifestyle interventions.
But little things, go to the beach and go to the pool, or have a cold shower at home. The tap water here in Sydney has been cold.
Yeah,
you're talking to a cold shower fan here in
look. This is the thing. When I'm watching this, all these things that I take for granted. I've got skins on upper and lower every day. I have an ice shower every morning and after I train.
So I'll give you another 40.
And I prioritize sleep, and I track everything using an apparatus so that I can sync and monitor my sleep, so that I make sure that I get 8 hours at least every night. I'm in bed at 7:30 and it's lights out at 9, because I read a book for an hour and a half every night. But Yeah, and then my alarm goes off at 5:20 in the morning, and it's like I do these things as a system, and it's on repeat, and it's autonomous now. But I've worked extremely hard to set that up in my life, and I also make sure that I drink a certain amount of water every day, and that's all tracked and monitored. But I just take for granted that other people are going to figure this stuff out. And you guys are creating a system that is going to make that really easy. It's fantastic.
It's mate, you've highlighted really well. You just made yourself accountable every day, and you've blended that, like you've just blended that into your lifestyle. And
exactly.
It's not like it's, oh shit, I gotta look at how many hours I'm going to do today of sleep. It's just in your life. It's blended in. You do it without even recognising. You had a cup of water there. You're hydrating. You know what I mean? So they're little things, little life things you can just add in. Going, I'm already doing it. I just got to tick it off.
That's exactly
and
right.
So on that, we'll maybe just go through a bit of a list of the positive gains you can do, and then maybe some of the things that detract.
Yep,
so
that's right. And we'll say this now because I want to hold these guys to it and put them under the pump. Anyone who would like a PDF document that lists this stuff off, that makes it really, really easy, hit us up in the comments here. And of course, if you're a patient or a client of Nalesh and Phil, you're going to get that sent out automatically, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah. And just a reminder for people who are watching internationally or just not in Sydney that unless you're in America, where we can't do it, there is telehealth available via our website, so you can do consultations with either of us.
That's exactly right.
So just keeping that in mind.
All of those people around the world, except Americans, unfortunately, because you've got different laws, hit these guys up.
Yeah, and if you are American, if you need a little bit of advice, we can try and help you out as much as we can, but obviously we can't do
There'll be a disclaimer in front of
medical
it.
advice.
DM me.
Yeah, that's right. So let's go through the positives. What can you do to add points and hit that 100?
So sleep is the big one, and I think that's something that everyone's got to do it every day, and if you can just put a little bit of effort into your lifestyle, into getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, then you're going to get a big 50 points. So that's
Beautiful.
Something that's should be very achievable for a lot of people, and so that's number one.
Yeah, I'll obviously, speaking from the sports side and elite side, you add the ice bath in there, but I know that's not accessible to a lot of people and it's not convenient. So, a cold shower, an ocean swim, or getting in the pool, you've got yourself 30 points.
So time-wise, how long are we going? Are we dipping in and dipping out, or
10-15 minutes? Get in there, bit of mobility. Get your head underneath, feel good.
Yeah.
Again, we're not complicating it. Get in the water, it's just light mobility, jog in the water, go for a little freestyle. It's up to you, but just getting in the waters, you've taken a box there. So
Awesome.
Love that. And then nutrition, so getting some good quality protein after your training, and if you are doing lots of calorie burning exercise, and making sure you're refueling those calories. So if you're doing high intensity stuff, plenty of carbohydrates in there. If you're in the keto side of things and you're doing really long distance stuff, making sure you are fueling adequately your fat. Those things are going to give you some points there.
And obviously this is another day, another conversation, but the choice of your food, we talk calorie, people go, oh cool, sweet, a Big Mac's 550 calories, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did that the other day because I did it on Sunday. But then your rice and chicken is also 550, but it's just the choices you make. It's the type of calorie, the type of fats, and the type of carbs,
and so, looking forward into minus, which we'll get into in a sec, but nutrition also comes into a minus as well. So, we'll get there in a sec. So hydration is the next one. So, with the Giants and one of the, you'd always see the guys jumping on the scales before and after every training session, every game. They're really closely measuring how much water loss, fluid loss they're doing in every game, and it's tracked and measured, and it's pretty intense. So we're not suggesting that you need to get on and off the scales after every training session, but certainly trying to hit have a look at, we'll do a little calculation of,
we'll come a little
formula for your weight to how much water, but basically hydration is a big one. You get a big 30 points for hydration there.
Yep, awesome.
I'm sure everyone's seen a footy game, or I know we're going a bit left field here, but guys just start chugging down water.
Yep.
because they've lost 4 or 5 kilos, and they've been going, here you go, there's 2 litres of water you can chug down in the next 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why.
bit of background.
That's why.
And they will do that during a game, not concerned that
Mate,
the
I
person
was
might vomit it up.
water boy over here. So
Yeah.
this is like when I was working the Giants while I was studying my exercise sports science and physio degree. I was first a massage therapist, but then I became a sports trainer, which is just a fancy name for a water boy.
Yeah.
And mate, like it was a serious job. Yeah, some games I've had my GPS on. I'd hit around 11 k's of running where you're just like sprinting on and off this because keep in mind it's a cricket pitch size oval. It's
Yeah.
huge. So you're sprinting on there. You've got these like squirty water bottles that like tucks onto their chin, and you just like. Mate,
Yeah.
you go ham like it's.
Yeah. And do they put anything in the water to like salts and things like that? Is it?
Well, post game guys jump on the hydrolyte, so
Well,
forth.
So
Okay,
as the professional water boy here, you had a bottle of you had one squeezy water bottle and one Gatorade bottle.
Yeah,
So
okay, yeah.
or
I think
electrolyte drink of your choice.
now it's diluted because the concentrate.
Yeah, yeah. So they-
Powerade like
Insane,
per 100
yeah.
grams,
So
like
they did,
36
like-
grams of
Yeah.
sugar.
They'd have a massive
Yeah.
they'd have a massive vat where it would be like heavily diluted
Yeah.
Gatorade, but yeah, they'd be
That's
looking at
very
electrolytes.
important to take on for those people who drink Gatorade whilst they're going for a walk to lose fat.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard for you to burn fat or displace calories if you're consuming a non-diluted energy drink or
100%.
rehydration drink. There's just too much sugar in it now.
Yeah. So mobility and stretching is another one here. And now, if you guys have heard me talking before, like I've often sort of said that like, stretching is a load that you need to manage, and you can't like stretching really hard is going to be potentially going to, put you backwards. But, a gentle sort of stretching mobility session, something like the 18-minute flexibility program from the US
Yep.
that you guys, pretty much everyone watching this will have access to, maybe not our clients, if you want to know. But yeah, basically like a decent sort of stretching session, 15, 20 minutes.
In front of the TV, or as we're
18
going, you watch
minutes.
the Wiggles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Get the finger guns out while you're doing it.
And that is different to one of our like loaded stretching routines.
Exactly.
Or
So we're not talking
mobility or flexibility.
We're not talking
master
loaded end of
classes.
range
Yeah,
stuff.
we're not trying to achieve the splits here. This is a more gentle recovery.
movement variability. It's about
Yeah.
getting your body through full range of motion without heaps of load.
It is the classic example of good mobility training.
Yeah. Unless you want to run through the
I'll
compression.
go out on something different, I recommend, or obviously sleep's great, but I think meditation and just having coffee in the morning and sitting there for eyes closed for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
Don't have to be a
good.
pro to meditate. I think we've got a lot of features these days, YouTube, Twitter, you can put on those 10-minute meditation songs and close your like it sounds pretty left field, but it's funny. You take 10 minutes and you feel like you've gained, you had a little nap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, have your coffee after. Don't have it while, because then you'll be buzzing.
I was about to say, that's a combo.
I'm a huge fan
Yeah,
of
we've
the
talked about
Waking Up
meditation a
app
lot.
by Sam Harris,
Yeah.
guided 10-minute daily meditations. It's just what I use, and it really helps me.
Yeah, he goes very much into like how to understand the brain and psychology, which I think I absolutely love, and that's been the one meditation thing that I've really connected with the most, and it's quite a slightly different thing from like the pure Zen
sort of
relaxation
hippie-
sort of
the-
times,
the-
but just find one that works for
hippie
you,
stigma.
and I think
before someone else do the elite do it, we actually have a meditation coach that came in I think 2 years ago, taught all staff and players how to meditate. We had a 2-week intensive meditation course. We went to the Blue Mountains for it. It was pretty cool. But now we've kind of, obviously a lot of people, it's for you, it's not for you. You figure it out. But a lot of the boys do it pre-game.
Yeah. Look, we sorry on that to interrupt. When I used to box at a decent level, and I did some, I got some invitations down to AIS and things like that. When we used to prepare for a bout, we used to meditate prior to, and I now know a bit more about it. And it was more a visualization exercise. But they used to get us, because we only did 3-minute rounds in competition, and they used to get us to meditate those 3-minute rounds. So it was a 9-minute meditation, and they would literally do everything on the timer. They'd ring the bell, and then you'd know you're having your 60-second recovery between rounds, and then they'd ring the bell.
I can't
and
imagine anything less relaxing than imagining getting punched in the face.
Yeah, this is it. Like you were literally meant to visualize your entire bout from start to finish, and how it was going to go. You know,
imaginary training is definitely like a skill development tool that you can use, and I think for this recovery side of things, you're probably better off just trying to chill. But I've talked about imaginary training and stuff before, and I really love it. I think it's an awesome skill. We used to, when I was playing for Australia in Ultimate Frisbee, one of my coaches was just massive on both mindfulness, but then also the kind of imaginary training and putting yourself in that performance mindset, putting yourself like in those positions so that when the pressure is on you, you've sort of been there before. So, but you know, for you guys, keep it simple. Keep it
use waking up app.
Yeah, just find something that you know can tolerate doing, and keep in mind, like if the first time you do it, you might feel like you feel stupid, and it's the same with any new thing. Just give it time. You'll find.
I think I'm no coach here, but when I initially started, you have head noise.
I'm
sitting here. Mate. Oh, my leg's itchy. Do I itch my leg?
Oh
wait, my hair's itchy now. Do I itch my,
after that's a while, all part of it.
You just become numb, and you actually like going in a state of little zen. So
that's what I love about Sam Harris.
Time,
he walks you through all that, and he says that's normal. Whatever you're thinking, go deep into that. Think about it more. You know, don't run away from it, and don't try and go, oh, I shouldn't be thinking. You know, I'm meant to have no thought. That's
just
bullshit.
Defragging.
You never have no thought. Like it's very hard. I don't.
With Sam Harris, for anyone who like looks at it and thinks like, oh, this looks great, but then you kind of can't afford it. He has a thing where you can sign up for a free membership. So don't let cost get in the way of doing it.
Absolutely.
I guess the last one here, we've got two more in the gains before we move on to loss, but do you want to run through the wearing compression wear?
So compression in sport is a big thing. We guys, when they travel, you're recovering pre-game, you're getting ready for the game. Post-game, you're on the skins. You're on the plane, you're on the skins. You're on the bus, you're on the skins. You're going to bed, you're on the skins.
You're on the podcast,
you're on the podcast, skins. So again, it's it's got positive effects. There's different types of it, and fitness gear is a thing these days. So guess what? Everyone's got it. Everyone's got it. So you can wear it, and you don't have to walk the streets with it.
I do.
To shorts and long.
I do. I love it. It's like a hug all day long. You know.
It's easy to do, and again, you get yourself an easy 20 points there. It's
Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it?
And so you guys just to give you a bigger, like kind of longer down the track sort of picture, we've come up with a whole list of things that we want to talk about in this kind of physio space. And so for each of these elements, we're similar to the Unity podcast, we'll be doing our own sort of deep dives into the a bit more detail about each of these things. So do stay tuned. We'll be giving information about where you can find that. But for now, we're just going to gloss over everything because there's plenty to talk about and not too much time. So the next one we've got there, which is the only one really now that is something that you can't really do for yourself. So and as Nalesh said at the beginning, fix yourself before you get someone else to fix you. Massage is on there for 20 points.
Beautiful. I'm going to be hitting you up for that later. I want that 20 points, man.
We're diving into the losses now.
20 points.
I know COVID turned everyone into a good drinker. So alcohol, you lose yourself 20 points. Again, like I said, that 20 points, it's very subjective there. A glass of wine with dinner with your partner, it's lifestyle. You got to live life as well. But you just make up with it with other things. Not saying you don't drink.
Well, this is the thing I love about this system. It acknowledges that that's a negative, and you can't hide from it. Exactly, and there's no point watering it down. Alcohol is not good for you. There's a lot of attempts to try and prove that it is good for you. The problem is that they all fall short because no one really does it properly. No one really pours an adequate standard glass of wine when they pour a glass of wine. It's very rare, and most people have addiction issues that take you far beyond the concept of it being healthy, and most of the health research is debunked. You can get resveratrol in other ways. You don't need it from wine.
What it does is, it really does mess with your sleep quality if you are drinking, especially just before going to bed. Also, it's sort of preferentially you're burning those calories, and that adds to the a whole bunch of other issues. But we can do a deep dive into that another time.
At another time. But so, if you are a person, and I'll just, before we move on, say this, if you are a person who really finds that an important part of your life to share a glass of wine with your partner at night, then what we're saying here is this point system provides you
tap off and you're having a cold shower.
That's exactly right, Hit yourself up with a cold shower afterwards. All the wine drinkers are going to love that.
And so nutrition,
Hang on, wait, I got one. Right. What about if we wear skins whilst drinking our glass of wine? Does that neutralise?
Mate, the maths works out. It's legit. And so what I love, it does just make you think about, okay, how can I make this sort of, up in other ways that aren't going to...
We're going to see so many people at the pub wearing skins from now on.
Okay, so nutrition, as I said, can be a minus. So sort of common sense here about, just food choices. We just did a whole week on nutrition last last week.
Yep.
So if you want any more thoughts on,
Go back and listen to last week's podcast series.
Can't go wrong with whole foods. Get your energy balance right for what you're doing. And one thing in nutrition, which we might go into a bit more detail at times, that we did last week is about inflammatory foods and anti-inflammatory foods. So basically trying to steer clear of things that are going to really ramp up that systemic inflammation, and working on things that are going to be rather anti-inflammatory. And the last one to finish off here for today is sleep. So again, sleep can be a negative if you're not quite getting enough, which flows into Tim Hughes' question on the live comments.
Yeah, this is a good question. And guys, just quickly, we're gonna wrap this up in exactly, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes. And what we want is, if anyone on the live stream has any good questions to ask, we'll get these guys to answer them now. Try and keep it specific to the point system, but if you've got a physio-related question, get it in now. And if we've got time, we will certainly answer it, like Tim Hughes. Why don't you read that
so he
out?
says, "Hi guys, do the points vary with age? I'm in my mid-50s and haven't been able to stay asleep for more than 6 hours for the last 10 years or so, and thought that this was just me getting older."
I've heard this before. I've heard people before say that as they age, they get less sleep. I'm going to share my opinion on it, and then you guys might be able to give a deeper, more scientific answer. The thing I've noticed with sleep is that the less you exercise, the less you feel like you need to sleep, and also the more responsibility you take on and the more stress you take on, the more you tend to sleep. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And so I find it harder and harder to sleep the more stressed I am, or the more I've got going on in my life, and those things tend to increase with age. So does the amount of exercise, and the intensity, or the level of the intensity of exercise that you do starts to decrease. So my experience is that I can relate to what Tim's saying, and I'm only 40, so I'm not old, but I've definitely noticed that getting enough sleep, now that I've got kids and other responsibilities and different things like that, and 3 businesses to run, it gets harder.
Totally. And the last thing we want is to make this a point of stress and you to be lying in bed being like, oh no, I'm not getting enough points. We don't want to add another layer of stress. It's just, more about accountability and things that you can do for yourself. But in terms of whether it does, vary with age, I think, spot on with what Yanni said, like with athletes, they're training hours and hours a day.
It's pre-season now.
Intensity.
They're doing 3 hours on field and then 2 hours in the gym. So when they go home, they're knackered. I'm not saying you go do that, but you just want to start burning the battery life during the day at least, so it needs recharging at night.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It might maybe worth looking at maybe just minus 10 points if it's a bit less, but we'll figure out a good way of coming about this. But
I still look, Tim. The easy and simple answer is still just try to prioritize sleep. Don't do it in such a way, like Phil said, that it becomes a point of stress for you. But there is so much good research that indicates that sleep is a really big contributor to age, to systemic, degenerative diseases, all sorts of stuff like that. So, and even weight gain, as simple as that, So I do urge you to prioritize sleep. I found it, I'm a very meticulous person who likes tangibility, and so mapping my sleep and using a wearable that actually sort of measures sleep, so then I can intervene. I'm a big fan of the concept of what gets measured can be improved. So if you have trouble like that, there's lots of sort of things we can do. We can also talk about what you eat, look at what you're eating and what you're doing in the lead up to sleep. Creating a better sleeping environment.
I'd say if you haven't tried a lot of those different sort of things around improving your sleep, I'd look into it with
100%.
I know
There's a really great book,
hygiene,
Tim, I'll leave you with. I'll even link it in the comments, Why We Sleep. Absolutely revolutionary, and I'm gonna link it in the comments for you.
Great. So that's the end of our sort of negative points there, and for now, for our sort of first introduction of this point system is I think a really good overview for people, but we will be putting a document together, and if you guys would like a copy of that, please do get in contact and we'll send that through and make it available.
Boom. Let's do that. We're going to do that anyway, and anyone who really feels like it, can hit us up, and we'll find a way to get it out to you guys. We're going to bring it in for a landing now, and we're going to just let you know that next week we're going to be going deeper into performance physiotherapy for elite level athletes. And these, we say elite level athletes, guys, but the thing is, we want you to understand that you can also really, really utilize this stuff and level up your performance as well. And that's what we want you to do. We don't want you to survive, we want you to thrive.
100%.
Exactly right, guys. Happy to help, and can't wait to throw more knowledge bombs.
As
nerdy as that sounds.
And hit us up if you've got some questions for the boys next week. Put them in the feed here on the UMS Movement Mastermind. And it's been a pleasure having you on, Nalesh.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to this. Early mornings, we'll smash this out.
Yeah, smash up the like button if you want Nalesh on the stream more. I'm going to smash it up, and
give it a smash.
I want Nalesh on here all the time. How good is it to have a physiotherapist who's training some of the best athletes in the country, if not the world, here to ask questions and help us all
again,
out. Look at the likes coming through.
If you haven't watched AFL before, if you're international, jump on YouTube and treat yourself. It's a wild sport.
There's actually a good YouTube link. We should link up what AFL is. It's actually pretty fun to watch.
You put that one in there and give it a watch. It's some of the most impressive athletes in the world, I reckon. So that's what. Yeah,
sounds very, very good. All right, guys. If you're on the podcast, big shout out to you. Much love. Give us a 5-star review. If you are on the YouTube channel watching the replay, smash that like button. Let us know if you liked the content today in the comments section. And guys, you can do these boys a very, very big favour by jumping over to Google or Facebook and give ADPT Physio a 5-star Google review. If you like the content they're sharing here, there's going to be a lot more coming at you. If you've ever done a show, a treatment, a consult with the boys at any point in time, if you just like looking at Nalesh's pretty face, give them a 5-star Google review. Share your experience with the world, and that will help their business get kicked off.
The link is in the comments.
The link is in the comments now.
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
see you all tomorrow for the Balance wrap-up, the Balance series wrap-up. We're going deep into UMS, and we're going to see Nalesh definitely next Wednesday, and we'll see if we can get him on the show before then as well.
Awesome.
Take care, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image. What's up, everybody?